Friends, welcome to my channel. Today, we are going to visit some of the key attractions in Semarang, the capital and largest city of Central Java province in Indonesia. We started our day tour by 9 a.m. from Semarang Old Town, also known as Kota Lama. There is no need to book this day tour in advance. It's better to hire a car with a driver, which costs around 700,000 IDR. Our first visit was to Prau Lager cigarette factory. Those visitors who come to Semarang City always spare some time to see this factory. It is not the produce of the factory that attract many people, but it is the building and its history. It was once the office of the Dutch energy company named Mainz & Company. During the Dutch colonial era, the company got orders from Dutch East India government to develop electricity network in Java Island. This building was established way back in 1900. In this factory, the cigarettes are made and packed by hand, without the help of any machinery. Prau Lager is an old trademark of a famous local cigarette, most probably one of the oldest cigarette manufacturer that still exists today. The Prau Lager cigarette has a nickname called Fisherman Cigarettes, because their market is fishermen. You can only find these cigarettes in cities that are located on the edge of the Java Sea, which means full of fishermen. Our next destination is Lorong Seoul. The Javanese word Lorong Seoul is a nickname for the building, which means 1,000 doors. The name comes from its design, with numerous doors and arcs. The building has about 600 large windows. It was once the head office of the Dutch East Indies Railway Company, and the building was constructed in the year 1919. This building has got a basement, which was turned into a dungeon, with torture and execution taking place there, when the Japanese invaded Indonesia and took over Lorong Seoul, in 1942. Many people died or suffered in the basement, and their blood stained the walls and floors. The basement also has a well, where the Japanese dumped the bodies of their victims. Impressive Lorong Seoul consists of several buildings, a massive L-shaped triple-story construction known as Building A, and a single triple-story rectangular block, Building B, that together forms a U-shape. Smaller structures punctuate the complex. Building A was constructed between 1904 and 1907 using materials imported from Europe, and Building B, a later addition built by 1919, uses local components. Corner-facing Building A is fronted by a grand peaked entrance with magnificent stained glass windows and is flanked by two dome-top towers. These buildings housed offices, and additional smaller buildings were used for ticket printing, a cafeteria, and sundry other functions. A large component of the main structure is dedicated as a railway museum with model trains, railway equipment, and information on the history of Indonesia's rail system. We are now at the famous Rainbow Village or Kampung Pelangi. Once a slum, now a hot tourist attraction, Kampung Pelangi is an example of determination and innovation. The local government decided to transform a small neighborhood, home to a little over 200 houses, into a thriving tourist destination. But today, most of the colors have faded and the early charm of the village had lost now. As you climb up the steps, you will come across the Kampung graveyard and will see hundreds of grave markers and stones stretching out across the top of the settlement. You can also see the tomb of Nyai Brintik, the daughter of the ancient Mataram king. Nyai Brintik is said to have small body posture with curly hair and with supernatural powers. Kampung Pelangi is located in Randasari village, Semarang City. It is located right behind the Kalasari flower market. From the peak of Kampung Pelangi, you can see the city of Semarang with rows of mountains. The view from the tower will be a real treat to your eyes. As you walk down the hill, through the narrow path, with houses on either sides, you can really admire the colorful paintings and the effort put by the local government to uplift a village, once a slum, to a popular tourist destination. Although the village is not a must-to-visit place, it's a different experience as you witness the living style of local people here. The Grand Mosque of Central Java, locally known as Masjid Agung Jawa Tengah, is a prominent Islamic religious site located in Semarang. Beside the mosque, you can see the 99 tall Al-Husna Tower, with 19 stories. There is an observation deck on 19th floor, which can be accessed by lift. From the observation deck, you can have a panoramic view of the Semarang city. The view of the Grand Mosque, from the top of the tower, is just fabulous and something which you need to experience. This mosque features a contemporary design that incorporates traditional Javanese elements, symbolizing a blend of modernity and heritage. The complex includes 6 large hydraulic umbrellas, which can be opened and closed, giving it a unique and dynamic architectural element. Spread across 10 hectares, this mosque can accommodate up to 15,000 worshippers, making it one of the largest mosques in Southeast Asia. We are now at the oldest Chinese temple in Semarang, Sam Pu Kong, also known as Gedung Batu. It was founded by Zheng He, a Muslim explorer from mainland China, in the 15th century. Sam Pu Kong is the oldest of 5 temples included in the Sam Pu Kong complex, which spans across 3.2 hectares. The building is influenced by both Chinese and Javanese 14th century architectural styles. Sam Pu Kong building, which is now a place of worship, is believed to be the former stopover and first landing place of Admiral Zheng He, also known as Sam Pu. History says that Admiral Zheng He was sailing through Java Sea. While crossing the Java Sea, many of his crew fell ill, then he ordered to drop anchor. His ship docked at the north coast of Semarang, to take shelter in a cave, and built a mosque on the beach, which has now been converted into a temple. Zheng He is a great figure who inspired the establishment of this Chinese Buddhist place of worship in Semarang. If you are in Semarang, take the time to visit the Sam Pu Kong Temple. This large and magnificent temple has been standing since 611 years ago. This temple originally functioned as a mosque, but over time its function changed to a temple, supported by the shape of the building, which is indeed like a temple. The Sam Pu Kong Temple is a single building with a tiered roof. The main building of the Sam Pu Kong Temple is a stone cave that is believed to be the headquarters of Admiral Zheng He. On the outer wall of this building, there is a layer of relief that tells the story of Zheng He's expedition in the 15th century for 30 years. This amazing relief was carved by Balinese artists, while the stone used to make the relief came from China. Inside a nearby building, you can also see the ship anchor used by Admiral Zheng He. Our next destination is the Krio Cave, which is located in the hilly area of Mount Krinsing, a natural tourist area with an area of 5 hectares with cool air and surrounded by many trees. One of the unique attractions is the hundreds of long-tailed monkeys that live there, which adds to the uniqueness and appeal of the legend behind the name Krio Cave. To reach the cave, tourists must pass through a number of steps surrounded by the Jatabarang Reservoir. As you cross the bridge, across the Jatabarang Reservoir, you can see a lot of monkeys at all ages. Before the construction of the Jatabarang Reservoir, the hill where the monkeys lived was integrated with the surrounding area. But after the reservoir is filled with water, the hill looks like a small island. This is the famous Creo Cave, which has got a long story behind its origin. The cave has a wide space at the mouth and becomes narrower as you explore the inside. There is a myth that has developed from this tourist spot, that the end of the cave can reach Loong Seoul. Tourists who wish to explore the cave will have to crouch to reach the end, where there is a monkey statue. The Creo Cave has got a height of 2.5 meter and a depth of 8 meter. Beside the Creo Cave there is another cave named Landak Cave. The name Goa Landak was given because the cave used to be a porcupine nest. There are no porcupines now, perhaps its habitat changed and was no longer suitable. The porcupines might have entered the forest, which was considered safer. Landak Cave has got a height of 2.5 meter and a depth of 8 meter. So if you wish to explore this cave, you have to bend down a bit to satisfy your curiosity. The cave walls are made of hard rock, clay, and limestone. Tairang Beach is one of the famous tourist destinations in Semarang, besides Marina Beach Semarang. This beach used to be an island called Tairang Island. This beach tourist spot is now never quiet and often becomes a place to gather and relax. Especially when the evening approaches and the sky begins to darken. On the beach, you can see several cottages or gazebos, which are usually used for resting or relaxing. If you wish to use these gazebos, you will have to pay 10,000 IDR. There are several seafood shops, from where you can get good food at cheap rate. We ordered oyster from one of the shop and it costs us only 30,000 IDR for 9 pieces. In the Tairang Beach area, there are many mangrove trees that were deliberately planted to overcome increasingly severe abrasion. You can also see several fish farms here. Fishing is one of the main tourist activity here, as there are a wide variety of fishes available in this area. Time now is around 5:30 p.m. and we were all very hungry. We thought of having some good seafood and stopped by Kampung Lot Semarang. Kampung Lot is a very spacious floating restaurant, with all the supporting facilities that are very adequate. As the name implies, this restaurant offers a variety of fresh seafood as its signature dish. This restaurant is close to the Tairang Beach and around 30 minutes drive from Semarang City. This floating restaurant is indeed an expert in processing various fresh seafood into mouth-watering dishes. On average, the seafood menu is a favorite of visitors. But there are two most favorite menus, namely sweet and spicy squid and grilled fish. Both are always hunted by almost every visitor who comes here. While visiting Semarang, you must definitely visit this restaurant, if you are a seafood lover. Semarang is a colonial city par excellence. Established in 17th century, Kota Lama Semarang is a best-preserved colonial city with remarkable testimony of important historical phases of human civilization. This historic district dates back to the Dutch colonial period, with many buildings and structures dating back to the 18th and 19th centuries. A night stroll along the streets of Kota Lama gives you an unforgettable experience.